We are recording. Hey there. Hey, everybody. Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited to see you guys. Today, I was working. I was doing some calls and just kind of catching up with people. And it was at that point that it was like I almost felt, I don't know, it's kind of like when you revisit feelings that you've had before. And maybe it's just been a little while since you felt that feeling of, I am freaking unstoppable. I mean, like, y'all know what I'm saying? Like, it feels good. It feels so, so good. So tonight, we've got some very important stuff to bring to you. It is something that I know for me, I want to disclose before we start that this is something I'm going through that is leading me to the way I told you I felt today. And so if I am kind of along that path, I feel like that it might help some of you guys. So does that sound like something that you might be interested in kind of learning about or kind of having that feeling? Do you want that feeling, I guess? So blow up the chat and tell me, do you want that feeling of I'm freaking unstoppable? Like I am here and you are going to know I'm here because I am ready to own this. So it has been a situation. It's really hard. You guys know we're in some definitely trying times, and we're just now kind of sort of either getting back to normal or settling into this new life, this new routine of wearing masks. And when you go out, everything's just different. You've got hand sanitizer everywhere. You're wearing a mask. Most people are wearing a mask, and God help the people who drive by themselves with their mask on. I don't know what that's about, but God bless them. More power to you. You do you. But it has just been a process getting here. And the best message is that you get there. It doesn't matter what this looks like. Just get there. So tonight we're going to start talking to you, or we want to have a session with you about self-limiting beliefs. Can anybody relate to that at all? Put it in the chat. Can you relate to self-limit? Are you limited because of your self-limiting beliefs? And guys, we all are. I mean, you're not alone. So I want you to know that right now. You're not alone. You're not alone. But you can overcome it. I can overcome it. You can overcome it. We can all overcome it. And how do I know that? Because it's possible. And guess what? All we need is what? Possible. Because someone else is doing it, so can I. That's my motto. That's always been my motto. And I am here to hopefully light a fire in you that you cannot put out, that allows you to have that tingling down your spine that I had today, that allows you to be bolder with just simply going out and helping the masses, helping more people, and capitalizing on the gifts you already have, but we're not using them to our full potential. Can anybody relate? Can I get an amen? Because I'm still not using my full potential. But I feel like as long as I know I'm not, that I'm headed in the right direction because I know that I want to be. And that's the fire. That's where the tingling and the fire comes from, because you just have this new outlook on the world that, you know what? I am headed there. I'm going. Lead follower, get out of my way. I mean, that's really got to be your attitude. And you are here to change your space. You're here to bring light and change your space, right or wrong. Because I know I am, and I know a lot of you are too. So we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. So I want you to have a pen and paper in hand. And I want you to kind of breathe. And I want you to just, for the moment, for the duration of this Zoom, which is not going to be very long, I want you to just promise me one thing, that I want you to be real with yourself. Because if you're not real with yourself, or you don't plan to get real with yourself, or you don't want to face getting real with yourself, see ya. You might want to jump off, because don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Don't start and stop. That's the whole problem, is we dive in, gets a little uncomfortable, and we back off. We dive in, we get a little uncomfortable, and we back off. It's harder. The challenge is greater. Maybe you start to say, I'm happy with where I am. If that's you, this is not going to be for you. I mean, I'm just being honest. And is that okay if 2 rules that we're honest and we're real? So if those 2 things are okay with you, let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I am going to let me, oh my gosh, how do I get rid of that? All these things pop up. Hold on one second. Okay, let's talk about self-limiting beliefs and why are they holding me back. So that's what we're going to start at. We're not going to fix it tonight, guys. So don't set yourself up for failure. But we're going to start moving the needle in the right direction. Remember, what are the 2 rules tonight? Honesty and trust. And being honest with yourself. You have to do that. If we're not going to be honest, it just changes everything. So I want you to just say, by gosh, for the first time, even if this is the very first time, I'm about to get real with myself because I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this. So let's start with self-limiting beliefs. Let's read this. Limiting beliefs are those which constrain us in some way. Just by believing them, we do not think, do, or say the things they inhibit. And in doing so, we impoverish our lives. Limiting beliefs are often about ourselves and our self-identity. The beliefs may also be about other people and the world in general. So, your limiting decisions are hiding in the areas where you're producing results that you don't want. You guys get that? It's like, whew. It's producing results that we don't want. And it's time to go. So we're going to be making a list. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to acknowledge that these are beliefs and not truths. They're not true. And guys, limiting beliefs are lies. They are lying to you. We're going to acknowledge that we're going to try on a different belief, and we're going to take action. So often we are unconscious about what we believe and how those beliefs affect our actions. Our limiting beliefs can cause us to miss out on the things that we want most, and our empowering beliefs can drive us toward the life we want to live. Whatever your reason, there's always a limiting belief. How many of you can relate to this? I need to be in control. I'm angry. I'm not safe in the world. It's not fair. No one likes me. I have to be perfect. I'm afraid. I have to help keep them happy. I don't like myself. I don't deserve to be loved. I am not good enough. There's no point in trying. These are the main major limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves. No one else put them on us. No one put those on. If any of these apply to you, no one did it but you. No one did it but you. So Brianna is going to come on here now. Brianna, do you want to unmute yourself? And she is going to talk to us about what is your primary question. She is Tony Robbins all the way, and she's got some stuff to help peel this back. Then I'm going to come back on. We're going to go through the exercise, and I've got some important information to tell you. So Bree, take it away.
I'm here. I am so excited about the exercise later. So, you guys, it's so funny how Dina was talking about like the energy, because I almost feel like these vibrations going through me right now where it's almost like it's this buzz in my body where I feel like I can't even sleep at night because I'm so excited. And I'll just be straight with you guys that I was just like going through the motions and surviving for a lot of years. And it's taking me a lot of work on myself to get myself back to this level of vibration where I am so excited to like tackle life. I finally feel like I have this life force inside of me that I have been missing for several years. And we all have crap that we go through. Life, oh my gosh, life hits us so hard. And it hit me so freaking hard. It took me several years to get myself back. And, but a big reason why I got myself back here is because I changed my story. I changed the story that I was telling myself. And when you can change your story, you will change your life in a way that you can't even imagine what's possible for you. I wish that I could take you on this daily journey with me where it took me so long to get here. But when you look at other people who have, are more successful, and I try not to compare, but it is a comparison game. It's hard to be on social media and see other people who appear like they're doing better than you are, and you get sucked down that rabbit hole really easily. And the way that I try to avoid that is I just stay in my own lane, and I've changed the story that I tell myself, which I'll explain what that means in a minute. I've changed the questions that I ask myself, and I focus on my gratitudes, because it's really hard to be angry when you have appreciation in your life. The two don't go together. You can pick one or the other. And I think especially now, since we've had this whole quarantine thing, I'm not going to lie, I've had a couple days where I got freaked out and legit was like panicking. And it's because I had let the news and the media control the story that I was telling myself. And so I took back my power and I took back control. And I'm not trying to say I don't like for that to come off that way, because I'm extremely faith filled, and God is a big part of my power that allows me to do everything that I have in my life, I believe comes from him. So, but I stopped letting the news and the media and the negativity on social media to affect how I was living my life. And I want to talk to you guys. Can we go to the next slide? I want to talk to you guys about changing the story that you're telling yourself. And I'm going to give you a few examples. So one, I mean, it's no secret that I'm a Tony Robbins junkie. I've been to a couple of his events, and they will not be my last. And I really admire his story, because his childhood, I mean, it was awful, you guys. And if you've heard me talking about this, I don't care. Don't hang up the Zoom call. You need to hear it again. You are here right now because you're going to hear something either from Dina or myself that you need to hear. And I love his story because he had 4 different fathers. His mom was abusive. She was an alcoholic. She was addicted to pain pills. Um, he was working nights as a janitor in high school just so that he could help pay the bills in the apartment they were living in. She would abuse him and pour dish soap down his throat. I mean, he came from an awful background, but he didn't let that story decide what he was going to do with the rest of his life. And I love this. Okay, and let me tell you a couple more stories. So I don't know if you guys watch Joyce Meyer. She's one of my favorite preachers. I love her. I read all of her books. And, she was molested by her dad, and her mom didn't help her. She couldn't wait to get out of the house. She blamed other men. She lived angry most of her life, but she turned to God. And when everything clicked for her, because she didn't start her ministry till she was like in her 40s. And when everything clicked for her is when she stopped blaming and being angry, and she changed the story that she was telling herself. And what I mean by that, and I'll give one more example. This is probably going to go longer than I told Dina. Oh, I only need like 5 minutes. So, but when I was at this event, there was this Indian woman. She was from India, and she was blind. And she was telling a story about how she was left on a bench. She remembers being walked to this bus stop and being left on a bench, and her mother had left her there, and she was abandoned. And the police officer came around, and he kind of knew that she had been abandoned, because when he saw her eyes, she knew that she was blind. Well, I guess in, the village that she was from was a very poor area, and her mom knew that, she wasn't going to have a husband. They weren't going to be able to take care of her. She just knew that she wasn't going to be able to help her daughter. And so she had abandoned her. And so she had lived most of her life feeling like she had been abandoned. But what happened is she ended up changing her story. And what she realized is, she said, what if God knew the blessings I was going to have by my mom doing that? Because what happened to her is that she ended up being adopted by a family from America. She grew up in the States. She was able to go to a university. She was able to have a great education. She was able to go to Tony Robbins events. She was able to be successful. And none of those things would have happened for her if she had stayed in that small village in India. And so she changed her story. So instead of resenting her mom for doing that, she now thanks her mom because she sees it was a part of God's bigger plan. And it's the same with Tony Robbins. Tony doesn't blame his mother. He said, if you're going to blame somebody, you better blame somebody effectively, which means I blame you for making me stronger. I blame you for giving me opportunities that would have never happened to me if that hadn't happened in my life. I mean, the crap that I had to go through with my family, I don't regret any of it. I don't regret it because it made me stronger, and it made me more compassionate to other people. It made me a better leader. It made me a better follower of God. I mean, all of these amazing things. How can I regret something that makes me a better person? And so even right now, we're going through this quarantine. So if we're gonna blame the virus, let's blame it effectively. And we blame it for bringing our families closer together. We blame it for giving us an opportunity to pivot with our businesses, and for making more minds than ever are more open to our opportunity than they've ever been. So we need to blame the virus for things that are happening. So, okay, one second. I'm going to move on from that. So that's effective blaming. So I know that all of you have been hurt by a family member, a friend, somebody in your life. And I really want you to try to change the story that you're telling yourself. And what if those things that happened to you actually were doing you a favor and lifting you up instead of pulling you down? I'll tell you one more story about changing your story. I heard this guy speak. I don't know his last name. His name is Nick. You may have seen him online, but he has no arms and no legs. And I heard him speak on stage, and he said that on the plane ride over, when he was coming to this event, he said that it was one of the planes where, you can pick your seat when you get on, kind of like Southwest, sit anywhere. And he said that nobody was sitting next to him, and people were trying to avoid eye contact with him. And he said he was starting to stare at the window, and he was starting to tear up because it sucks when you feel like nobody likes you and nobody wants to sit next to you, and you're not included and you're different. And he was starting to tell himself the same old pitiful story. And then he stopped himself, and he said, I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can appreciate the fact that I have the most leg room on this plane. And then he laughed. He laughed at himself that he made that joke. And he said that every single day, if I start to feel those negative feelings or feel like I'm being rejected, he said, I thank God that God gave me this body with no arms and no legs, because my body is being used as a filter to keep the negative people out and let the positive people in. And ever since I have heard that, I cannot tell you the weight that has been lifted off of me, because how many times in our business and in life we go through these feelings of rejection. And nobody likes to feel that way. But what if it's actually a gift? What if that rejection is God keeping the negative people out of your life and letting the positive people in? Okay, so don't leave me hanging. If you guys are getting anything from this, please share something in the comments to help And what I want to share with you next is I want to talk about the primary question, because that was actually what this whole topic was supposed to be about. And okay, so yeah, it's on the screen. Okay, I cannot express to you how much this one thing has like changed my entire life. So basically, what the primary question is Tony figured this out like years and years ago. He was at a seminar and he said this woman was teaching this time management seminar and she was just bombing it. I mean, just doing really, really bad. And everybody in there was just like groaning, waiting, wanting this thing to be over. Well, he was like, had his notebook and he was like frantically taking notes. And the guy, and Tony was like a little bit well known at this point, and this guy's like, hey, you're Tony Robbins, right? He's, what are you taking notes on? Because this girl is not good. And he said he was thinking about that for a while, and he was thinking about it when he left. And he's like, why was I taking notes? And he realized that in every situation he's ever been in, he asked himself a similar question. And the question that he always asked himself was, how can I make this better? So he was literally like writing in a whole notebook how she could make this workshop better. And he said he really couldn't help himself. It just always came up. And he said that he started realizing, he goes, well, I wonder if other people have a primary question that they ask themselves all the time. So we started asking other people, and come to find out that most people don't have a question like Tony has. And most people's primary question is actually pretty negative. And so he's telling this story, and I remember that whole time for like the next 2 hours, I was like, what's my primary question? I couldn't think of my primary question. It was driving me nuts. And I remember walking home from the event that night, and it hit me like mid-conversation with a group of people, and my question hit me. And I just like stopped dead in my tracks. And I realized that the question I had been asking myself on a daily basis, you guys, is what's wrong with you? That was my question. And if you ask a miserable question, if you ask a lousy question, you're going to have a miserable life. And ever since that day when I realized that, I have completely changed my question around. I even put it in as a reminder in my phone, or I have a new primary question. And so it goes off every morning when I wake up, and it says, instead of what's wrong with you, oh my gosh, yes, Lee, she said she asks herself that every single day. A lot of us do. I started asking, my family, and I was hearing, and close friends, and I was hearing, am I going to be alone forever? Am I a fake? Will I ever be successful? These were a lot of the questions that people are asking themselves. And I really believe that that is so much of Tony's success that he's seen, is because he had a positive primary question ingrained in him. And that was leading to his success, because I cannot tell you the shift that I have made in my mindset in my life since I've changed my question. So my old question, what's wrong with you, has now been replaced with, how can I love and appreciate myself even more today than I did yesterday? So if your old primary question is, will I ever be successful? Your new one should be, how can I be even more successful today than I was yesterday? If your old question was, am I a fake? How can I believe in myself even more today than I did yesterday? One of my other primary questions, it wasn't really so much a question, but it was just more like a feeling, like I could never really be present. Like if I went out to dinner with a group, it was like I was always wondering what was happening on the other side of the restaurant, or if we were in one place, I wanted to be somewhere else. It was like I couldn't just be. And so I started phrasing a question around this, and I started asking myself, how can I be even more present now than I was yesterday? And I have such a peace in me now. I remember changing this right before New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve was I don't think I've ever had a good New Year's Eve, because I always wondered what was happening over here, over there. And I stayed in like one spot all night in a restaurant, didn't really move, and I had one of the best nights I've ever had. So I promise you this works. One of my old primary questions was, one of the stories I told myself was that I'm not good at technology. And I've changed that now. And so now I say, how can I be even better at technology today than I was yesterday? You would not believe the stuff that I've learned over the past 4 months. It blows my own mind. So I just want to encourage you to take some time and think about what your old question was, and let's take some time and rephrase that. And you may have more than one primary question. I mean, I told you 3 scenarios that I used to tell myself, but what we're going to do together is we're going to change these questions, because if you change your questions, you'll change your life. If you ask the right questions, then you'll have an incredible life. I promise you. So, okay, with that, I'm going to turn it back to Miss Dina P., and she's going to close us out.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Bree. And I shared Nick's profile in the thread. I've heard him speak on a couple of occasions. He's incredible. You need to follow this man. He is incredible. Okay, so for whatever reason, sometimes it lets me. These are some of the top limiting beliefs. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. If you guys will take a screenshot of that, we don't have to go through all of them, but it's just giving you an idea of some of the things that we tell ourselves, and some of the things. You can take a screenshot of this, more self-limiting core beliefs. My unhappiness is outside my control. Others are to blame. That's probably one of the bigger ones, is that when we learn to accept responsibility for what we bring to the area, but to this space, it really starts to change everything. So now we're going to get into some good stuff. Are you guys ready? All right. So these are some of the people. I don't know if you can see that other one, because I think you've got a full screen. I'm not sure what you guys are looking at. I'm looking at something different. Did anybody recognize that person in that first picture? That's Megan Reeves. Megan is absolutely killing it in our company. She's one of the ones who came from Advocare, and she is Platinum Black 2, I think, and I think she's about to be Platinum and Black Elite 1. I mean, like, she's just doing incredible. And the reason that I wanted to go down this road with you guys is mindset is everything. It is not just a little bit. It's not a little dabble over here and a dabble over here. It is everything. And how do I know that? Because I went 3 months without getting on the scales, and I was just, my attitude, my demeanor, everything was bleh. I mean, it was just crap. And I finally am like, you got to face the gauntlet. I went on a cruise, and then I came home to being quarantined. So for someone like me who struggles, this was a horrible scenario for me. I mean, that's like taking, you know, I won't say it, but it's just like saying, here's your ticket to take a pass. And it's not. And so I avoided it, and I faced it, and I found out that I hadn't gained weight. Everything changed. Everything. The way I walked, the way I talked, my attitude, the pep in my step, everything changed. And so I've always been one of those that I knew mindset was powerful, but it is more powerful than you can even imagine. So Megan and her mindset is a machine. So this is her. I think this is probably their first child, but I want you to go to the next post. This is before, this one, she was trying to figure out life, pretty much a lot about where all of us are at now. Can you relate to that? Like, she was trying to figure these things out the same way we are right now. And in 2016, she posted this picture, which I believe was at Hobby Lobby, and she got 47 likes. Now, because Megan did a training on Instagram over a week ago in One Voice. If you haven't watched it and you want to be on Instagram, it is a must watch. She tells you exactly how she built her following. Now you see her post. This is a post she did in the past few days, 3,225 likes. Do you guys get that now she is an influencer? But look at the beginning to now. It was a process. So what happened? her mindset changed, and she got rid of the limiting beliefs, and she started believing in herself and getting rid of those things that were holding her back. And now she is killing it. She's firing on all cylinders in her life. And all she did was start getting rid of these beliefs and start diving into what matters and staying and keeping doing it and showing up and doing it and showing up and showing up and showing up and doing it some more and working tired and all the stuff. And now she's headed to the top of the company on both sides of the comp plan, platinum black in both sides of the comp plan. Guys, does this kind of change, does this show you in a matter of 4 years where you can be? Do you get that? That's what I'm trying to get across to you, is that this takes time. This takes getting rid of limiting beliefs, and this takes time. But the one who stays and goes for it wins. So I wanted to give you some of these examples. Now let's talk about Amber Brill. How many of you know who she is? I wanted to show you this picture, because this picture of her stretching to Director 3 2 years ago. Like, she stretched, and I mean, if I had to assume, backdated a ton, just got there on a wing and a prayer, but she was hardworking. But she didn't have anything close to an influence. And I'll just be honest with you, and Amber, if you ever get your hands on this and watch it, she will tell you her life was a mess, a complete and utter mess. You guys think you have problems. I mean, like, this girl is a tough, and she is a survivor. And she now went from having no influence, life in the gutter, losing her daughter, custody of her daughter. Her daughter was taken away from her. She suffered from a lot of personal demons that were tearing her down. And now she has 5,000 followers on Facebook. And she goes live every single day. And she gets viewers on there like crazy. She is now, and she also said, I can remember talking to her probably a year ago, and she said, I suck at getting customers. She said, it's all I can do to stay bronze. Like, I suck at it. She got rid of that limiting belief, and now she hit platinum 1. She said, I quit telling myself I suck at getting customers. And she started to believe it, and she was making it happen. She also went Elite 2. Guys, again, Amber, if you get your hands on this and watch the replay, if Amber Brill can do this, anybody on this earth can. She just wants it more than you. And she's willing to face her demons, get rid of those limiting beliefs, and start believing in herself. And that's when her success started to grow. Now let's talk about this lady. This is Amy Smith. How many of you know who she is? At one time, she was at the top of our compensation plan with the most pod points, which was unheard of. Like, everyone's scratching their heads like, who is this girl? She came in here and she's got all these customer pod points. What is she doing? Oh my gosh. I mean, like, we thought Platinum 3 was big. She was, at 1 month, she had a $300,000 customer, 300,000 point customer pod just by herself. And we were like, who is this girl? Well, I want to tell you now, before I forget, her record's been broken by another girl who had 400,000 pod points for herself. So the limits just keep raising higher, and the bar gets higher and higher. Did you ever think somebody would come in and blow this girl up? Did you really think it? I didn't. I didn't think it was possible. But guess what? It is possible. Here is Amy Smith. She worked 60 hours a week 3.5 years ago, I mind you, at Hobby Lobby. She was a manager. She was overworked. She was underpaid, undervalued, and overweight. She had a coworker, I believe, this is how the story goes, who lost some weight on another MLM product. It was like a drink you drink. And she had to beg that girl to get that information. And she'd never even knew this was a business. And so she started going into that and started learning about keto dieting. She started a Facebook group 3.5 years ago. She has 158,000 followers in that group. And she goes live every single day. Guess what she got rid of? A lot of limiting beliefs. Guys, before all of this, she was homeless, living in a homeless shelter. It's okay to do this. What? It's okay to do that. I mean, you talk about what? If that doesn't slap you, I mean, wake, I'm going to shake the computer. Wake up. It's time to wake up. I mean, that shakes my core. So did this resonate with anybody on here of you thinking, oh my gosh, they were just regular people. They were down and out way more than me. Look what they're doing. You know what all three of these people have? Financial freedom. Was it worth the price? Yes or no? Put it in the comments. All right. Now we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of getting you there. How does that sound? Tell me how that sounds. Put it in the chat. Let's go. All right. Ones, identifying your limiting beliefs. They are the ones that have the greatest negative impact on your life. So I'm going to read this, which is hard because it cuts off. Beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy. Human beings have the awesome ability to take any experience of their lives and create a meaning that disempowers them or one that can literally save their life. Do you want to disempower? Or are you ready to save your life? And in the process, do you know how many lives you're going to save? Okay, this is what I want you to write down because we're about to be finished with these slides and we're going to go into breaking this down for you. If you don't change your beliefs, your life will be like this forever. Is this good news? Who's willing to go in the chat and tell me, is this good news? That if you don't change, this is good news for you to stay where you are. Anybody willing to go into that chat and say that? I'm gonna guess no. Okay. Y'all ready to break it down? Give me some high fives. Give me some high fives. Come on. All right. Modere just had the biggest month in North American history. Check. We are 70% ahead of last month in May. Okay. Give me some mind blows. Okay. Does that create something that maybe, just maybe, you want to overcome your limiting beliefs? Are you ready to overcome your limiting beliefs? Because victory is yours. Being a champion is yours. It's all yours. So, how do we identify it? You got to stay relevant. Don't lie to yourself. It's time to get real. If you got to have some, my two favorite emotions are laughter and tears. If you've got to cry, cry. But it's time to get real with what it is, what you believe about yourself that you know is not true, but you've told yourself long enough that you believe it. Y'all know how you tell a lie and you tell yourself that lie over and over, and then eventually you can't remember if that was a lie or if it was real? Do y'all remember that? Well, those are the same beliefs that are holding you back. Only worry, write this down, only worry about the limiting beliefs that are going to have the greatest impact on your life to get rid of. When you've dealt with those greatest ones, you can now deal with all of them. So, there's the clear definition of the list we're about to make. A list of all areas in your life where you feel challenged, where you feel that you are a disappointment to either people or yourself, and you're not actively doing something about it. Or you're not actively doing something to repair it. That is a limiting belief. Your behavior is an indicator of your beliefs. So, again, we're going to identify these beliefs that are holding us back, these lies we tell ourselves. And the ones that have the greatest negative impact on our life are the ones we're going to tackle first. I can never be successful. Why not? I could never really be financially free. Why not? I cannot get healthy. Why not? That one slaps at me. I cannot really see myself at the top of this company. Why not? I have self-doubt. Why? I do not have enough time. Why? I'm not good at fill in the blank. Why? I'm not willing to learn how to get better at blank. Why? I wish I could or would just blank. I wish I could or would just what? Why? Sometimes, here's a quote by Joy Page. Sometimes all it takes to change life is to decide which belief that does not serve you and literally change your mind about those beliefs. I'm afraid to ask somebody to look at this business. I don't have what it takes to succeed. I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of not being liked. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid to fail. I'm not worthy. I only have bad luck. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. That is a limited belief. I can't change my circumstances. Not true. I'm tired of giving up. I mean, that could be the answer to one of your limiting beliefs you believe about yourself, to just face it. I'm afraid. I will never really have what I want. Learn to differentiate between fact and belief. Our mind is powerful, guys. And it will run circles around you if you let it. This takes work and it takes a lot of energy. So I know many of you have heard about Roger Bannister, right? Everybody here knows who Roger Bannister is. He was the first guy to run a 4-minute mile back in 1954. They said it couldn't be done. It was not physically possible. So no one tried because physics said that this was impossible to do. No one will ever conquer this. No one will ever do it. It is impossible. Well, Roger Bannister in 1954 proved him wrong and did under a 4-minute mile. So once that limiting belief was lifted, there are now 1,400 people who run under a 4-minute mile. 1,400 people from something that was said could not be done. What? What? The people at the top of this company, guys, they don't have anything that you don't. They just got rid of limiting beliefs faster than you are. And they started believing in themselves. And they started believing that they were worthy and that they could do this. So here we go. Here comes the activity. Are you ready? Number 1, write them down. You're going to make a list. I want you to make a list of the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And again, remember how we started off this Zoom. You're not going to be honest with yourself. Don't waste your time. Don't make it a bunch of fluff. Get real. Get down in that gut and get real with you. Acknowledge that these are beliefs and not facts. That's the second step. And number 3 is take action. So you can overcome this, guys. We can all overcome this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a list. And guess what we're going to do with it? We're going to be real. And then we're going to take out that piece of paper and we're going to get somebody to video us burning it. And you're going to go on social media and you're going to post your video and you're going to say, adios, done. I'm done with you. Out of here. I want you to tag anybody, your leaders, everybody. And people are going to say, what are they doing? Because you never know who we could attract that wants a piece of this, that this culture, this what we have to serve it up. We got to serve it up on a silver platter to other people, and they're out there hurting, and we have something to give. So while we overcome our limits, let's invite other people to come and get rid of theirs too. How does that sound? So I want you to go on social media on Facebook, and I want you to post that video. You have a week to do it. You have 1 week to make that list and make a video of you burning that thing. It doesn't have to have words. It can just be a boomerang. It can be anything like that, but of you torching it up. And in your comments or on your headline, you're just going to say, today I got over myself and I broke up with and divorced my limiting beliefs of myself. Watch out. And you're going to tag all of us. So there's going to be all these videos floating around there. Tony Bruce, don't think you weren't at the top of my list on this talk, because this is for you, sister. This is for you. I'm pointing my finger even. I love you, and this is for you. You're going to burn that piece of paper. And then you're also going to go to Instagram. How many of you on Instagram? Raise your hand. You're going to post it in your stories, and you're going to tag me. You're going to tag all these people. And we're going to blow up social media with a movement that is going to capture not only ourselves, but freedom in every single direction. So, and in 1 week from today, we're going to have another Zoom where we all come back on here and we talk about what's taking place in our guts and how we are a new person. We are ready. We are freaking ready to take action. So, follow-up Zoom in 1 week. I will be working on my list. You have 1 week to do it. And I'm ready to see I'm ready to be tagged so many times that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with this, because that is the changes taking place in all of these lives. Guys, I believe in you. I love you. And I'm telling you, I've had this epiphany lately myself. And when you tingle down your spine, when you get the tingle, you know you're back. You know you're back. And I'm ready to seize the moment that this company is ready to give me. And I want to take all of you with me. There's no sense in going alone when my friends can't go with me. And if I can do it, you can do it. If Megan can do it, you can do it. I can do it. If Amber Brill can do it, I can do it. You can do it. If Amy Smith Hightower can do it, I can do it. You can do it. And it's the only way we can do it is to dump those limiting beliefs and get real with ourselves for the first time. It may be the first time in your whole life you really got real with yourself. And let me tell you, I'm not finished. I got to make a list too. So, because I'm be honest with you. So while my business is where it's heading in the direction that I want it to head, I still got a wedding in 6 months and I hadn't lost no weight. So panic is setting in. So I've got to be real with myself here too. So you're not alone. I love you all. I'm going to turn off the recording, and you guys are welcome to